Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Yes, your eyes do not betray you. That is 90s supermodel Tyson Beckford. And Tyson Beckford recently was on the DJ Vlad's show. And on this show, he makes once again, proclamation about his so-called ethnicity. He's claiming to be mixed with this, with that, with this, and that. But I want you to hear right from his own mouth.
We go back.
Yes, we do, sir. Before all of this, when I was still in my heyday of fashion.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're finally getting to sit down and do it.
Yeah, about time, bro.
About time.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. This is our first time sitting down, so I want to start in the very beginning.
Okay.
So you were born in Rochester.
No, this rumor has been spreading like wildfire. I was born in the Bronx. I went to school as a teenager in Rochester, and that's where the confusion is. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy confusion. I don't know how it is, but it is what it is. Yeah,
it is.
So I'm a Bronx kid.
Okay, you're a Bronx kid.
Yeah,
and you have a very interesting background in terms of your nationality.
Yes, I'm Jamaican, Panamanian, Chinese, Portuguese, Spaniard, and then Dutch as well. So I'm all kind of mixed up.
And yes, Tyson, you are all kind of mixed up. So you heard Tyson Beckford there declaring that he's Jamaican, Panamanian, Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese, and Dutch. All these mixtures. And you heard the DJ say, well, it's interesting. Tyson says it's a nationality. I would doubt that Tyson has any other nationality except American. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm going to doubt that. Now, those of you who are not familiar with Tyson, you could be in your 20s. He was born in 1970 in the Bronx, New York. He was discovered by the hip-hop magazine called Source in 1992. And I'm sure that he wasn't declaring himself to be mixed then. I bet he was just a black man back then. And he went on to get a campaign for Ralph Lauren the following year in 1993, which catapulted him into being the highest paid male model. This campaign back then was rumored to be anywhere from $250,000 on up. And keep one thing in mind, around 1992, 93, that was a lot of money. That still is a good chunk of change today. So he's definitely was catapulted into supermodel stardom and status as a male model. And one of the first to actually get an exclusive contract, which is very rare for men. So here Tyson is with Naomi Campbell, who I believe is Jamaican, also part Jamaican, claims to have a similar background in terms of Chinese. But I want to explain that. But before I do, here it goes right here. Tyson features come from his mixed heritage. His parents are from Jamaica, but his maternal grandfather is Chinese, and his maternal, grandfather's Panamanian. Did I say that right? His maternal grandmother is Chinese, and his maternal grandfather's Panamanian. He was born in the United States, which Tyson just said, and raised in Kingston, Jamaica until he was 7. I don't know if that was true. Did he really was raised in Kingston, Jamaica? Because he said he was Bronx born. And there's a lot of rumors about this here. I've heard it switched around to, I heard that the Chinese or whatever part is from his mother's side, then I heard it's from his father's side. You don't really know what's going on there. But here's a picture of his father. Now, let's read this. Tyson Beckford was born in Rochester, New York. Now, Tyson just said that's not true. He said he was born in the Bronx. So we know this is not true. On December 19th, 1970, which makes him 50 years old today, to a Jamaican father of mixed race, including Chinese, and a Jamaican mother of Panamanian Afro-Jamaican descent. Now you can clearly see it says something a little bit differently than what it's saying right here. But either way, there's some type of mixture somewhere down the line. Now this man right here is reportedly to be his father. Yes, I do see some Chinese there. But let me just explain something about all Jamaicans. Most Jamaican blacks have Chinese in them. Most Jamaican blacks are going to have some type of what he's describing. It could be the Spanish, yes, that's going to be there. Portuguese, yes. But just like most black Americans have some type of European in them. And let me explain to you about Chinese in Jamaica. The vast majority of Chinese in Jamaica are not like those from China. The Chinese in Jamaica already have African or black in them. Here's another picture of Tyson's father when he was younger. I clearly see a black man right here. I see a black man who is like no different than any other black American parents who have some type of admixture on there. But I don't really see a need for, and you have to wonder, why do people expressively need to just admit it or just express it publicly or worldwide? Here's his mother. Does she look mixed or biracial to you? She looks like any other black American. This is a black father. This is a black mother. They made a black son. I don't really see a need to go back there to a grandparent who is not really Chinese, but who's mixed with some Chinese, who have, both parents probably have, like you said, Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch in them. But so what? Here's his mother again. I'm looking at a black female right there. I do not believe that she identifies as biracial or mixed. Just like my mother, who's mixed, identifies as black. When I say mixed, you guys know that I'm talking about a long time ago with great-great-grandparents who were mixed with German. So it is very strange that people would want to declare themselves to be mixed or biracial from events that happened generations ago. At the top, Tyson Beckford, 48,000 Google model and actress nationality, parents, and Chinese ethnicity. Tyson, let that go. The Chinese happened generations ago. It really did. It just comes across as someone who's just not happy being totally black or who's not happy in their blackness. And here he goes right here before the modeling fame. Tyson in the front, his brother in the back. I bet you they were black then. I bet there was no all these so-called exotic mixtures of being this Chinese, Puerto Rican, what is that, Chinese, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese. I'm looking at a black man. And strangely enough, his eyes look bigger there. And you're going to see where some pictures, they look smaller. But this is Tyson in the front. Okay, here's the thing about the Caribbean. This is the reason why people need to be very careful about declaring this Portuguese, this Spanish, and this Dutch mixture and ancestry. In the Caribbean, and specifically in Jamaica, they had slavery up until like 1832 or 39. Somewhere up until there. So a lot of these mixtures where you're mixed in with Portuguese, you're mixed in with Spanish, you're mixed in with Dutch. It was forced. A lot of it was not a willful participant. It was definitely not out of love. Many young girls, 12, 13, 14, 15, were, I got to be careful with this word for YouTube, but the R word. So you sitting up there proudly declaring yourself to be mixed like this, not really knowing that the trauma, the humiliation, the dehumanization that your ancestors went through, it wasn't anything that was voluntary or consensual. Many of these women, most of them were taken against their will. For you to be making a proud claim today, to be mixed in with Portuguese, Spanish, and Dutch. So people need to learn their history and not be so taken to not want to be anything but black, or to think that somehow if you're just black, that it's not as interesting. Here he is right there. The eyes are, I mean, whenever you smile, your eyes are going to look smaller. But, I mean, the Khoisan people of South Africa, they have eyes like this. They're not mixed with Chinese. I mean, they're who the Chinese actually came from. And if you look at Tyson really good right there, I'm going to say that there was some type of makeup going on in the inner folds of the eyes. You can make it darker to make them look smaller. I really believe that. And keep one thing in mind about the face shape, because I want to bring up something. Here he is right there. But I want to show you this. Are his eyes any differently than Taye Diggs' eyes? And remember I told you about the face shape. Don't let it fool you, because Tyson Beckford has more of a square jawline. It's more square jawed. Taye has more of a rounder face, but the same small eyes right here. See that? The same eyes right there. There's no differently. Here's Don Cheadle. Different facial structure, different nose structure, but the same small eyes. So it's strange how people are allowing certain features, they're just to set them apart, and they're running away with it. Here's Tyson Beckford with Nia Long. Now look at his eyes right there, and look at her eyes. His eyes look just as big as hers. But look at this right there. The same type of eye structure. She has the same small eyes in which Tyson Beckford has. So does Angela Bassett. So we got to be very careful in allowing certain things like eye shape, skin complexion, hair texture, and use that as a reason to separate us or to try to distinguish us from being anything other than black, or to add to being anything other than black. Because it shows to me that there's a disconnect, and it shows that someone is not proud of who they really are as a black person. Here's Stacey Dash, and if you can't remember, I did a video on Stacey Dash about this topic, and I did a video on Shar Jackson about this topic. And if you'll notice one distinct thing with people who make claims about having all these exotic admixtures in, for some strange reason, they end up having biracial children. Is that a coincidence? Or is there some type of self-hatred going on there? Is there some type of being uncomfortable with who you really are? Who claims to be anything other than black from something that happened decades ago with grandparents or great-grandparents? And even these grandparents who may have some Chinese in them are not full-blooded Chinese. They still have some type of black admixture that they added on, where the majority of your genetic makeup is going to be black. But yet you're claiming to be all this Chinese, Panamanian, Portuguese, Spanish, and Dutch. Now, here's Tyson Beckford. Look at his son. So the trend continues. We claim to be mixed, biracial, other ethnicities, and we end up having biracial children. So mentally, it tells me that there is something going on with that type of mindset. With a person who is not directly biracial, who do not have parents who are directly biracial, but yet they are claiming to be some type of biracial, some type of mixed, some type of other ethnicities, when they should just drop it as black. And it's almost like they are reproducing the type of children that they wish they were. It's like they are afraid to reproduce black children. And when you have a strong black core, when you're very proud of who you are, you're not going to want to reproduce a child that does not look like you. Now, it may happen, but it will not be planned out. So Mr. Mixed with all these ethnicities, this is what he likes. And that is the common theme it seems to be among all the people who claim that they are mixed in with this and that and others. They tend to not like black. They tend to like the others. They tend to want to reproduce or procreate with other people. See a pattern there? This is the reason why I believe that people who make these claims and proclamations, it is the inferiority complex going on there. They're dealing with insecurities. They're dealing with complexities about being black. Maybe there's some type of stereotypes in which they bought into that they have not shaken yet. And it's really a shame because Tyson is like 50 years old now. Stacey Dash is 50-something years old. Shar Jackson, it has to be around late 40s going on 50s. And they're still dealing with these issues right there of identity. We're still having to identify with others or to bring others into our mix. Like we have not really settled in and become comfortable with who we are. And we can only make acceptable babies with other people. And it seems like to me that this is very deep rooted in Hollywood. I notice that a lot of people will make this claim. Most black celebrities, not most, but when I say a lot, I mean it seems to be more so than the general public, or maybe it's because they're famous. Because they're famous, you hear about it more so. Either way, fame or no fame, it's a shame. It really is. As I've spoken on this before with the other two videos of which I've done, you really have to wonder, what are they passing on to their children? So I know I did Stacey Dash and I did Shar Jackson, but Tyson Beckford is proof that it is not just black women who are doing this or who have this type of psychopathy or mentality. Men also. And I will say this about black men. Dark skin like Tyson Beckford here, they can be the most colorist. They are the most colorist. When it talks about having children or wanting to reproduce with others, boy, they love these non-black women to reproduce with because it brings them mistakenly what they believe pretty babies. So here he is right here, back in his heyday. Back in his heyday in the 90s. Here we are, 2021. 20-something years later. And I'm making claims to be Jamaican, wasn't born there, Panamanian, Portuguese, Spanish, and Dutch. Many of those that were forced upon my female ancestors. And I'm proud to proclaim them. I'm proud to proclaim my terrorist blood. I don't want to say the R word, but I'm proud to proclaim their blood in me. It makes me proud. It makes me feel some type of a way. And it just shows you how deranged and how much work we as black people still have to do. Because these mixtures that he's claiming, every black person is mixed with something. Every single black American is mixed with something. We all have great-grandparents who are of something else. But thank God that most of us do not go around making proclamations that we're this, we're that, we're others. This is the reason why celebrities or famous people should not be looked upon as role models. They should not be looked upon as people who can bring us something higher or higher learning or wisdom. Because many times, as you can clearly see here and in the other videos in which I have done, they are struggling themselves. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.